There are many people who come to our country, to the UK, who do things that would not be acceptable in their countries. It's virtually impossible, for example, to get Nigerian citizenship. I had that citizenship by virtue of my parents. I can't give it to my children because I'm a woman. Yet loads of Nigerians come to the UK, stay for a relatively brief period of time, acquire British citizenship. We need to stop being naive, and that's why under my leadership we now have policies to make it a lot harder to just get British citizenship.
The Honourable Member for Regina Capel. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to bring attention to the tragedy Christians in Nigeria are experiencing. The deadly terrorist organization Boko Haram is trying to eliminate the Christian faith from Nigeria. This is the same terrorist group that kidnapped dozens of young schoolgirls and burned innocent civilians alive in cages. According to reports, over 3.5 million people have been forced to flee their homes. 3 churches are destroyed every single day. 7,000 Christians were massacred this year alone, and the faithful must now meet in secret or in burnt-out sanctuaries. Sadly, the world is turning a blind eye to the plight of Christians in Nigeria. There are no embedded journalists covering the violence. There are not daily updates. Politicians around the world are not asked questions about how they will respond. We cannot ignore this violence and tragic loss of life. We must speak out and shine a light on what's happening so that people can donate to relief efforts and provide support to those displaced by violence. To my brothers and sisters in Christ, we know you know the power of prayer. We will not forget you. Stay strong. Keep the faith.
Honestly, it beats my mind what Nigeria is becoming in international community. Honestly speaking, Nigeria has become a laughingstock in the world. Just a couple of days, we had Trump made another speech calling Nigeria a disgraced country. And today, the United Kingdom has come with their own. And they did not just blast Nigeria. They warned their citizens against traveling to Nigeria. This is the same Britain that knows, or should I say, they have hand in what is happening in Nigeria. Yet, it's just for you to see how wise these people are. Now, they are warning their citizens not to travel to Nigeria. Say Nigeria is facing high insecurity problem and so on and so forth. Now, before I give you a little analysis about this, let me first of all read out the news for you. And as you can see, I'll try to place it on the screen. This video was this news was published on the 10th of November 2025. So it's not an old news. This is what they told their citizens of recently, just a couple of days ago. Now, let me read out the news for you. It says, the United Kingdom government has issued a strong travel advisory warning its citizens and foreign staffs against many states in Nigeria over rising insecurity. In the latest foreign travel advice released on government.uk, the UK urged its nationals to exercise extreme caution, review safety procedures, and maintain contingency plans. It specifically warned against travel to the riverine areas of Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River states due to risk of kidnapping and violent crime. The Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office (FCDO) also cautioned against all travel to Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, Gombe, Katsina, and Zamfara states, citing an increasing threat from Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa, especially around transport hubs, religious centers, and large gatherings. The advisory noted that insecurity is increasing across Nigeria, adding that kidnapping, violent crime, and intercommunal violence occurred in all regions. It said militant groups maintain active across the Niger Delta and attack oil and gas installations, while armed robbery, criminality, and kidnappings remain prevalent. It further warned of secessional groups active in the southeast, where violent clashes with security forces are frequent. Although foreign nationals are not mainly targeted, there is a risk of being caught in an attack, the statement read. The UK government also flagged rising violent crimes in the southwest, including Lagos, describing mugging, carjacking, armed robbery and kidnapping as common, especially in major cities. It advised against all but essential travel to Bauchi, Kaduna, Kano, Kebbi, Jigawa, Sokoto, Niger, Kogi, Plateau and Taraba State, and to the outer suburbs of Abuja, warning that violent crime involving firearms has spread from the outskirts to the center areas. British officials in Nigeria has been instructed to restrict movement to within the Abuja metropolitan area, while citizens were cautioned to avoid protests and large gatherings as demonstrations in the capital can turn violent. Now, this is what they wrote to their citizens and to their ambassadors in Nigeria. In fact, to their citizens, they're advising them not to come to Nigeria. In fact, they mention all the states. This is about 21 or 22 states they mentioned. Nearly all the states. In fact, they even mentioned Lagos, that, carjacking, armed robbery, and so other things is happening in Lagos. But there's something about this news. When they mentioned Southeast, let me read that for you again what it said. It said, it further warned of secessional groups active in the Southeast, where violent clashes with security forces are frequent. Although foreign nationals are not mainly targeted, there is a risk of being caught in an attack. Now, these people actually know that there is no much thing happening in the Southeast except the secessionists, according to them. The secessionists, once in a while carry out their demonstration and so on and so forth. But in Nigeria, the Nigerian government are telling you that the whole thing that is happening in Nigeria is happening in the Southeast. That kidnapping, killing of security personnel, everything, it is in the Southeast. Meanwhile, the UK officials know that these things are not happening. That the only thing happening in the Southeast are the secessional groups. I hope you get it now. That is to tell you that these people actually know what is happening in Nigeria. They know. Don't tell me they don't. They know very well. Nigeria has become an experiment ground for many nations. It's just unfortunate. At this time, the only song that is coming to my head is Nigeria ga-adịzịkwa mma ọzọ. Nigeria ga-adịzịkwa mma ọzọ. Nigeria, ị ga-adịzịkwa mma ọzọ? I don't think so. Come on, I don't think so.
The United Kingdom Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office has advised against travel to multiple Nigerian states because of increase in kidnapping, violent crime and intercommunal violence noted in these places. This comes barely less than a week since the U.S. administration designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act, a move tied to allegations of severe violations against religious groups. Join us this morning on Breakfast Central for reactions to this development. Is a certified human rights consultant, a U.S. Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights Ambassador, Bánn. Welcome to you, sir. Thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Now, what do you make of this travel advisory that has been issued to UK citizens for several states in Nigeria? Is there a cause for alarm? Are they seeing things that we aren't seeing as a country? And what's your general overview?
Most times when we come on air, we talk about insecurity. At the end of the narratives, we ask ourselves, what are the security advantages, which looks like solutions? And that part is not hyped. The next time again you are coming on air, you are back to insecurity, whilst the solution was hyped coldly. Now, if you look at the narratives from the global countries, they are playing their role. They have interest in outer countries. They have interest in international travels. They have interest in international economics. They have interest in international sales of weaponry, investigation, and relevance and dominance. So when the whole countries of the West, Europe, America, and everybody, Russia, China, they are playing their global interplay, who are the pawns? The little countries that allow themselves to be used as the pawns. So when they bring such narratives and they say don't travel to Nigeria, do you know that if you go to those places, check Air Peace, check Asman, check all the flights that goes to those areas, you will still see foreign nationals traveling to those places. Now, are there security challenges in those places? Yes, they are. Okay, but are they escalated to that point where they are? Yes, they are. But are there interplays from those their narratives to collaborate with our narratives to solve those security challenges? That's the question.
But we're an independent country, and the onus is on us to fix and also fix the security challenges. So it's not necessarily their business. They're just looking out for the interests of their citizens and warning them that, you know, this places are red zones. Please avoid travel that is not necessary to these places. So, yeah, one would think, you know, it's
it's
normal.
you know each citizen of a foreign country in another country, especially those that are working with embassies or international oil and gas companies or whatever financial institutions, they have insurance, you know, and those insurance are bottled towards the risk parameters that they are exposed to. Okay, and these narratives needs to follow. But you made a mention of independent country. You know, are you sure Nigeria is an independent country? Because if you talk about independence...
Independent and sovereign.
Yeah. Because we had opportunities to gas in on our independence. ECOWAS, AU, non-existent. Even when this new president came on board, AU and ECOWAS were things being shouted about to handpick and strangulate the military incursions in some African countries. Now, all those things were killed now. Okay, where's ECOWAS? Where's AU? Now, coming down to African nations, if you are independent and sovereign, why is it that your financial resources, your currency is based on the exchange rate of another country currency? Why is it that you need loans all the time? Each regime that comes is begging the World Bank, begging Western countries agencies of aid to come to your rescue, begging Western countries militia to come to your rescue, begging Western countries for military equipment which your citizens already manufacture locally, is just to synchronize the expertise in it. You know, so when you talk about independence, it's only on paper. It's not on the execution of democratic governments in Africa.
Okay, so now the question is, what reputational damage does this travel advisory do? You know, and for the foreigners who are here, how seriously do you think they're taking this travel advisory?
Reputational damage is expected when you don't have defensive measures put in place for your reputation. We have the Ministry of Orientation, Public Information. Have you heard them speaking? We have spokespersons for government. Do they speak before the foreign nationals speak? Do they speak in collaboration? Then you have ambassadors in all of these countries in the world. Which of the country ambassador Nigeria has that you've seen that have done an interchange of communication that have raised our public image and has brought up possible, arguable, sensitive positioning for the country to be seen as a very intelligent country positioned to communicate with all of these international issues? We don't have any ambassador anywhere that have stood up to be present in any event in the US, any event in the UK, called to speak in any international organization on the part of the country, called to defend narratives that bring down our national image. We don't have any. The National Orientation Agency does not communicate jack. Now we have private security practitioners. So many private security practitioners, they went to start their own communication agencies to tell you where and where not to travel to, what risk parameters, death rate, and all that. Who patronizes or supports them? Who listens to them in Africa? None. But one journalist from one foreign country, not even as educated as you are, just jumps up and say, hey, don't travel to Abuja, and it's becoming news.
Now, the United Kingdom listed multiple states as high risk for kidnapping and violent crimes. The US also issued a CPC designation citing large villages freedom violations. You said we don't have ambassadors that should have been interfacing, and also countering some of this narratives and speaking from a position of strength for Nigeria. But unfortunately, more than 2 years into this administration, ambassadors are yet to be appointed. But Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, the foreign minister, has been, doing diplomatic rounds, but it doesn't seem to be enough. Away from that, if you could advise the president, because he also needs to reassure Nigerians that are living in Nigeria, we need to be secured for ourselves, not because of external factors. The life and properties of Nigerians is also very important. Looking at where we are today as a nation and limitations, how would you advise the federal government to address this issue? Because it would definitely have an impact on tourism, investor confidence, and what have you. What steps should they take now that the United Kingdom, and it also has a copycat effect. Once the United Kingdom issues a travel advisory, other EU countries and maybe possibly America would also do the same.
Okay, thank you very much. See, now I did something about international relations and politics in my MSc, okay? And I usually tell people, I said, every government, especially a new entrance, like a new president, they have two platforms that they need relevance. One, within the country, he needs to be relevant to all stakeholders. When I say stakeholders, I mean those that handle democratic intercommunication. You can be a Muslim, you can be a Christian, you can be North, South, East. Those times, they don't talk about, are you a Muslim, are you a Christian, are you Igbo, are you Yoruba? No, they just decide about the economics of the country. Oil resources, mineral resources, who gets what placement, and how many people can you give me for my panelist? And okay, so when you look at outward, you look at a president that is supposed to be relevant in global platforms, the United Nations, the World Bank, where you can make some voice, AU, ECOWAS. No. When President Trump came on board, you saw what he started to do. He started to do within, he's deploying military to some states, even in America, saying that those states have insecurity problems. Nobody heard about that. None of your ambassadors, in quote and unquote, visited those states to say, really, you have insecurity, and try to hype it.
Or get travel advice.
You get my point. How many Nigerians were told not to travel to those states where President Trump sent military to? Military, U.S. military.
National Guard. Yeah.
Now, look at our opportunity that we lost when the president came on board. AU and ECOWAS, what happened to them? So if you have strengthened our own African global platforms where all presidents can come together, put their might together, and begin to challenge certain narratives that downplay our relevance, then you already have the international platforms that are active. Now, we were made the president of ECOWAS, Nigeria. What happened next? It all went down, and no results possible. We threatened to invade those African countries. We threatened them of invasion, and we didn't even achieve that. Distractions left, right, and center, and there are no constitutional, institutional strengthening. every of our institutions have lost their relevance because there is the influence of negative influence of political activities. And the political activities itself always pushes the downline of religion, tribe, and all of those things that Nigerians begin to hit their heads together while certain persons sit down and decide who gets what.
Right. So now looking at what is on ground, there's a travel advisory, there's a reputation. How would you say we should find that balance between reporting what is, true and being able to say that you don't want to heighten or eating up, exactly, or cause alarm? Because while you say on the one hand that when we come on air, we are always discussing insecurity, but is there an insecurity challenge? Yes, there is. So how do we find that fine balance between reporting what's actually the truth, discussing what the truth is, and also not causing some form of panic that may be interpreted as giving us a bad reputation?
You see, one thing that we need is institutional strength. Now, you need a policing system that can detect immediately when certain activities are going against the security architecture or structure of any community. Gathering of people, activities, nocturnal activities, incident reporting, citizenry trust. Now, one of my staff said she entered one chance in Lagos and they took this and took that from her. I asked her a simple question. Did you report it to the police? The answer was no. And I had to insist that it's reported. The policing system must generate all of those triangles and begin to attack it. Now, when the police finally get hold of the criminal, they communicate that criminal into the criminal justice system. One, he's called a suspect. He's taken before a judiciary. The judicial process must make him a criminal by using the evidence against him to sentence him through a criminal process. And those sentences begin to put labels on Nigerian citizens who have gone through criminal justice system, criminal processes. Don't create windows like de-radicalization, amnesty, plea bargain for people that take away resources.
Non-kinetic measures to deal with insecurity.
I don't like grammars. Kinetic, non-kinetic, all your generals have been saying it, all the CDS have been saying it, all the national security advisors have been saying it.
Amnesty and, let me tell you something,
sir.
As long as it doesn't
non-kinetic is when you don't, yes. So where is there no direct shooting? Direct shooting is...
When you rehabilitate them.
What do you rehabilitate? Okay, look, listen, when you rehabilitate people, are they having insanity challenges? They were included into a criminal process and they accepted so. In the process of 10 months, they have killed over 200 people and destabilized the country. And that same person didn't have the time to come to you and say, sir, I'm doing this thing against my will. They radicalize me. I need you to help me. Then you tell him, show me the people, and he showed them to you, and you go in and get them in and bring them before the law. What is stopping the activities of our criminal justice system? What is stopping us from sentencing criminals? What is stopping us from addressing a crime as it is? Murder is murder, rape is rape, arson is arson, abduction is abduction. Nobody should ask you, are you Musa, are you Emeka, or are you Yetunde? You are a criminal. These are the evidence before us. This is the penalty for your crime. That is the solution. If you begin to go into the narrative of let's try kinetic, non-kinetic, and those people say they are oppressed in the Niger Delta, so they kidnap some white people. It's kidnapping. In the north, those people said that they were forced into this and they killed some villagers, they burned some farms, they killed the farmers. It's murder.
And arson.
You go for the crime. When you begin to bring in narratives, then you are allowing political interest to divert your attention from delivering governance to the people that voted into power.
It's almost a reward for bad behavior also. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and some people can interpret it as, first of all, is it truly justice if the people who have had the short end of the stick do not get justice? Imagine somebody being a part of a community, having lost family members due to the hand of a terrorist. This terrorist is arrested, and then they say they're de-radicalizing the person, reintegrating the person back into the society. So just in some measure,
the victims are still dealing
with the grief, and sometimes. What really again is justice? I always ask that on the show. What is justice if it doesn't consider the offender, the offended, and then the state? Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
No, so that's why I was even telling you, a good government, as my closing remark, when you come on power, I'm praying for it, and I'm sure it will happen someday. Just help us and go back 5 years. Don't go too far. Back 5 years, pick out all the cases, revive all the judicial system, and insist that those persons go for that judgment, and bring the victims to be in court when those sentences are being made, and let them be known that they went through the process of, is it a death sentence, is it life imprisonment? Let the victims know, then interview the victims, bring them here to News Central, and the victim is saying, I am compensated to a large extent that I am seeing justice. Muslim, Christian, Yoruba, Hausa, or Igbo. The country will begin to move towards excellence, and the world will see us as we are.
And on that note, we wrap up this segment. Thank you so much for joining us.
So, after seeing this, what do you make of it? Drop your comment in the comment section, all right? I'll see you in my next video. Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you.